Señoras y señores, bienvenidos al mundo Tatacay, el mundo de la lucha libre. Y hoy tenemos una gran invitada, una persona que ustedes ya conocen y que la hemos visto internacionalmente en Estados Unidos, en Japón y por supuesto en WWE también y en muchos lugares. Así que estamos muy contentos and we are really happy and really glad to have here Renee, Michell. How you doing?
Thank you for having me.
Well, welcome to Denver. Welcome
Yes.
to Iwclegacy and welcome to Mundo Tatacay.
Yes, I'm very honored. Thank you guys for having me, and I'm looking forward to trying out Denver, the food and everything. I'm pretty much a foodie, and I'm also interested in see who I'm gonna go against.
Well, it's gonna be an interesting match, and as you guys can see here, and we're really glad that you're here. We know you. We saw you last month in Mexico, and but one thing that really caught my attention is this doesn't happen too often, and people that is really make it big in wrestling, they're not even fans of wrestling. They don't, I can say they don't really like wrestling, and all of a sudden you become a wrestler, and big time wrestler, not just a wrestler.
You think I'm big time? Am I?
I mean, you've been in a lot of in the industry, a lot of events, and different. You've been champion many times. You go to Japan right away.
Yes.
I mean, it's not common, you know. It's that's a big time. Just so you know,
Aw.
in case you didn't
Yeah,
know.
maybe I'm just too humble about it. Like, I
Well,
don't.
how did that happen? Like,
So when I started out in wrestling, I was approached. I didn't know anything about wrestling, and I was approached by Dwayne Gill, who used to go by Gilbert back in the day. So he saw me, chased me down. Bear in mind, I didn't watch wrestling, have no idea about it. And he's like, "You have an amazing look. Why don't you ever thought of becoming a professional wrestler?" And all I saw in the ring was a bunch of men in their underwear, beating each other
you're
up.
like, is this?
Yeah, like I'm like, no, thank you. But he was very adamant about it, and he even found me on social media as well and kept asking. So I caved in, gave it a try. It's no different to me. It was no different than because I have a martial arts background.
Yes.
So I did like martial arts and weapons, and then I wanted to get into stunts. So I was doing a bit of that. So it was kind of like.
You were in the modeling.
Yeah, I
too,
did.
no?
I did some modeling. I started off with modeling, doing like street racing, like for Hot and Pour Nights or like NOS energy drinks. A little bit of modeling here and there. But it's like I'm too short to be a model. Like one time I was approached it for a runway, but they realized that I was wearing platform heels. So they're like, if only you were 3 more inches taller, because I'm 5'3". So, but a lot of people they think I'm taller because what they see on pictures. I just have longer legs and a shorter torso. But and I wear platform heels a lot. But the transition from growing up and doing martial arts and the acting and then transitioning to wrestling, it was pretty easy. The moves are easy. The psychology is like, that's like a little bit difficult, but
Yeah.
I'm getting there. I think after my 10-year mark, I got it. But when you're like starting out, you have like, how do you get the psychology down,
Yeah.
And like the styles are very different. So I was fortunate enough to learn like not only like the American style, but I was also like living over Japan for like about a year,
Yeah.
and going back and forth.
And that's another thing that I was looking, and when you are you go to Japan, and most of the wrestlers are doing their interviews and they're doing their promos in English,
Yeah.
and then you start doing it in Japanese.
Yes. So Chiguzo hold a tryout in New York, and I was invited to come to the tryout. And a lot of the people that were doing their promos in English and stuff, but I decided to cut mine in Japanese. And I think that, thank God, like during in college, I took Japanese You know.
See,
so,
I think it was meant to be. Even you
I
didn't know.
I didn't know. But it's like, you know, when you're in college, it's like, okay, you do Spanish or like you do French or Chinese, and I saw Japanese. I'm like, you know what? Let me challenge myself.
Well, tatakai is Japanese.
Yeah.
You know what that means? That's
Tatakai,
like fight,
yeah,
like
fight.
a lucha fight.
fight.
It's
Yeah.
like it doesn't translate as lucha, but it does what
Like
it is.
they're fighting.
That's what the name is.
Yes.
But
Yes,
yes.
I'm reading it. Yeah. So when I was studying Japanese in college, we had to learn how to read, we had to learn how to write, how to speak, and then there's 3 different writing formats with hiragana, katakana, kanji. If you could get hiragana, katakana down, you'll figure out what kanji is. But kanji is very
Kanji is really hard for me.
Yeah. Kanji is difficult. Kanji is very difficult because it's very similar
Because
to
I'm
like
studying too.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
Yeah,
to learn.
so it's similar to Chinese.
Yeah, it is. It is
Yeah.
from China. It is.
Yeah. So it's like, it's very like, the characters are all combined together, but it's like, hiragana, like back in the day, it was like a writing format for women, believe it or not. And then that's how hiragana, if you look really closely at the character, it's more like a curve, like kind of like a cursive and curvy. Yeah.
See, like this one's.
Yes. And
So
then,
it's kanji, and then we have this ones at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then katakana will have more of a sharp edge, and that was for like men back then. So women, they developed like their own writing format, you know, which is hiragana.
That's pretty cool. That's why I said, like, a big time wrestler. I mean, you found mission in life in wrestling. You
Yeah.
found love.
Yes.
I'll say hi to Drake Maverick.
Yeah. Hi, honey bunny.
So you found everything, and that's kind of weird because you're not even thinking of wrestling.
No.
Or you probably didn't even know about the world of wrestling.
No, not at all. I was completely oblivious, you know, and I fell in love with it. I caught the wrestling bug and I fell in love with it, and I enjoy it. I don't regret, you know, it at all. Like, the only thing I regret is that I wish I knew about it at a younger age, because I came in around 26, maybe 27, and I wish I knew about it maybe much, much younger. But, you know, such is life, and, you know, life goes on, and, you know.
For the years that you've been wrestling, I mean, you've been doing some pretty big events and companies and everything.
Yeah.
So it's.
I mean, I don't regret it. I don't regret it. It's been a roller coaster, definitely, for sure. Like, living out in Japan is like, you know, I was like approached, you know, by Stardom, and I also was approached by Chigusa's company, which is Marvelous, but back in the day it used to be called Gaia. So there was like some kind of incident that was going on over in Stardom during the time when I found out about like 2 Japanese girls were like going at it with each other, and I didn't know what kind of drama that was going on then. But I also love and appreciate the Joshi old school style, and considering that with Chigusa and the amount of years in history, and the woman's pretty much basically a legend in her own right, alongside with her tag team partner, which is Lioness Asuka. It's like, what better way? They were known as the Crush Girl. And then Chigusa's first protege was Meiko Satomura. So as everyone know that, you know, Meiko from over in WWE, is like, I want to learn that. Like, very old school, you know, no catering to me because I was a foreigner or a newcomer.
But those are the basics that will help you anywhere.
Yes.
Anywhere that you go.
Yes. I love it. Like, during the time the dojo was in Chiba, in the middle of nowhere in the countryside. So not too many people could handle that, you know, with barely any Wi-Fi. I absolutely enjoyed it. You know, I didn't mind it at all. It's not like I really go out anyway in my real life, so it's like I'm in nothing but surrounded by farmland. But, you know, we wake up early in the crack of dawn, we have breakfast, we train all day, we have lunch, we train again all day, and then, of course, we have curfew. So the curfew is like 10 o'clock, but the rules are that you couldn't drink, you couldn't smoke, men were prohibited. I think of the girls, they weren't allowed to have boyfriends, so they didn't want to have any distractions, which is great, and I can appreciate that because you're focused nothing more on training.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, why would you like want to have men and female intertwined together, and then there's too many distractions, and, you know, hormones and emotions get involved and stuff, whereas you have nothing but all females and they're in the middle of nowhere, but just strictly focused on training, which I appreciate.
Yeah, I think it's the best way to train somebody, and the discipline that they get, and is this everything? Most people think like it's the physical. I think it's everything. It's the mental, emotionally, everything that you learn. I mean,
all together. What's really interesting is that these girls, they start out very, very young. They could start like in teenager age, you know, like, or like they finish with school, but they don't want to go to high school. No, not high school, but they don't want to go like to college or whatever, and they're already training. But so when they started training, they don't see their family for like months on end until they debut. They can talk to them on the phone, but seeing them in person, that's a no. So it could be like 6 months to a year until they see their family, and then they debuted and everything like that. But it's like the whole time we keep it. Kayfabe's a really big thing over there. So when the girls are training, they actually legit think it's like real, not a work, you know, type of thing. Like, you know how it is in wrestling. So 2 weeks prior to their debut, we sit them down and we tell them. And then they're so shocked. So all that hard training that they did for months and months on end, they're ready.
If they tell them before, they're going to be all anxious and everything.
Yeah, like, you know, or like not really taking it seriously. You're not really studying hard or whatever. But I preferably think it should be like that, you know, because you could weed out the ones who really want it or not.
Now that you're in more matches in the United States, what do you train now?
Currently right now, I train over at Flatbacks, which is owned by Tyler Breeze and Sean Spears. They're both now in WWE, and as well as I train over at the Dungeon with Natalia Hart and TJ Wilson, which if, you know, people know from back in the day as Tyson Kidd. So what I like about training with them too, because when I attended over at Flatbacks, I had like a lot of bad habits from wrestling around in the indies. And you pick up bad habits like along the way.
That's kind of impossible not to do, because you kind of in the same people, and then you pick up stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, you know, being on the indies is because like with all four of them, you know, they work TV and they work like main roster and everything. So it could be like a simple thing from like putting an arm wringer to footwork to cutting promos to developing character to slowing down in the ring, because a lot of people, they have a habit of speeding instead of like letting it process and telling a story.
They don't let the people really grab the story.
Facial expressions, all of that. And if it wasn't for them, you know, like with Breeze and Spears, like I've learned to A, with my footwork, B, to like sell more, you know, whereas in Japan it's not really too much of a selling. You know, they're selling, but it's not as far as in depth. You know, whereas Breeze and Spears, they help me out a lot with that, and they also help me with my promos and like character development and everything like that. Now over at the Dungeon, that's where like Natty, like, and TJ, they make me like really, really grind with the wrestling, because their style is like very like old school from, you know, with the Hart family and everything. So it's very technical and all that stuff. And as well as Flatbacks too, but it's like it's totally two different fields. So it's like with the Dungeon is not a school, it's like by invite only. So since like Natty and TJ, they know me for like, I want to say like 10 years. So they know who I am. They know, you know, Natty know me since forever. So she's like, I want you to come. You know, which is great because I'm able to be in the ring.
Because they can see the potential, they can see where you can get. Like they can see where you're at, and they can see what they can teach you, and that's really good.
And which is great, because like I guess like TJ, he reported back to my husband, so he's like, no, Renee's good. She just, you know, she's just surrounded by a lot of indie girls, so it's kind of make it difficult, you know. But you know, with Breeze and Spears, like I know those guys for so many years, and thank God for them for having like the patience, you know, and the time to even train me, and like they help me like with the littlest things that I never even knew, that I'm like, oh, I did not know I was doing that incorrectly. So if it wasn't for them, you know, I wouldn't. Yeah, I got a lot better with all four of them. Yeah, so
that's really good.
Yeah, and my loyalty is with Breeze, Spears, Natalia, and TJ. So it's like, yeah. So that's where I train at now. I go back and forth. So, you know, with Flatbacks, it's like an 8-week course, you know, for students, and you know, 2 weeks of break, and then a new batch of students come in. So they kind of like weed out the ones who really wants it or not, and then the ones who does go in there and they can't really complete the course. They realize, oh, it's a lot harder than I thought, because what they see on TV.
Yeah, I mean,
they don't know. The grind.
The grind. The real work.
Yes. Yes. So without them, I appreciate all four of them, and they're the best, and my loyalty is always going to be with them.
Yes. Well, it's like I said, it's you've been in a lot of places doing a lot of things. You've been independent most of the time,
Yeah.
and like I said, we follow you. We know who you are.
Oh,
they
God.
know who you are. So,
No, you don't.
but lately, you've been doing some. You were saying that some wrestling in Mexico. We saw last month your match in AAA in Tijuana,
Yes.
and it was a pretty good event. And it's how do you feel about the not just the culture but the fans in Mexico when you go over there?
Oh, I love it.
Do you feel the difference in other places?
Yeah. So in Japan, it's like the fans are actually watching.
Yeah, they're quiet.
They're quiet and they're
they'll
actually
clap
watching.
once in a
Yeah,
while.
yeah. But in
That's it.
Mexico, everyone was going all crazy and everything. I was excited, but I was a little nervous. But then, get in the ring, you're kind of like you're in a zone. Once
Yeah.
you're in the ring, you're in a zone.
It
Like
was a good
tunnel
match.
vision. I had a lot of fun. It was my first time tagging with Sexy Star and meeting her, and then going against Las Toxicas.
We saw that kick, Lady Flammer. I mean, she's a friend of ours, Lady Flammer. But we saw that kick. You guys watching this? It's a nice kick. So, like I said, it's a good match because the fans, they love it.
Yeah.
The way you wrestle and the way they wrestle, it was a good match.
Yeah, I hope throughout the years of me wrestling, I want to be more so like a hybrid. So if I, kind of like a Renaissance woman, like whoever I go against, it's like if I go against a Japanese individual, then I could wrestle Japan style. If I go against a luchador, then I could do that. And, if I even was in England on tour for like a month over there, and I wrestled for Progress and debuted with them. And of course, learning the British style. So I like to be, what do you call it, like a wild card?
Yeah.
Yeah. You never know what I could pull out.
Yeah. So, what are your plans? Like, are you staying pretty busy, pretty active in the United States, or you're planning to go more out of the States?
I do plan on wanting to go more out of states because I love England as well.
Mm-hmm.
And and I have wrestled over in India for the Great Khali. So we had out there 75,000 fans out there. So it looked like a whole big WrestleMania event out there. Will I ever go back out to India again? I don't know, but I do want to explore out than just in the U.S. I love the U.S. I wouldn't mind exploring more in the U.S. But I also want to go branch out out of the U.S. as well.
Okay. Well, we hope to see you more often in Colorado.
Yes.
Hope you like it. Hope you
Yeah.
like the fans. And like I said, you do have a good match. I think it's a three-way.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's a three-way. So
I'm excited.
it's gonna be a good match.
Yeah.
So hopefully you enjoy it as the people enjoy it too, and we expect a pretty good match.
Thank you so much.
So
I do my best.
Of course, and like I said, whenever you come back, you can come. This is your house, Colorado now.
Yes.
You can take it as your house because it's important because we're in the middle, so you can just
you
go
can
to
just
different
branch
places.
out all over the place.
Yeah, but we're happy that you're here. We're glad, and hopefully we see you more often.
All right, thank you for having me.
So if you want to say something in Japanese to the
Yeah.
people that speaks Japanese.
私は Renee です。どうぞよろしく。でもyou can find my IG as Lady RM, and you can find my Twitter, which is one Renee Michell, as well as Facebook, one Renee Michell.
Síganla en sus redes, aquí les vamos a poner redes sociales, Instagram, para que la sigan, toda la gente que habla español, que aunque no hablan inglés, ella la pueden seguir, tiene muchos videos, la pueden seguir donde la pueden saludar, se pueden tomar la foto, productos y todo, ahí está en su página. So now it's people from here, from Denver, it's mostly from Mexico. So the fans, they know you now because you've been wrestling over there. So like I said last month when they saw you, most people was like asking, is she the one that wrestles? Yeah, it's the one that's coming. So people here, they know you, so hopefully they'll have fun and they'll enjoy your match.
Yes, thank you so much. Hasta luego.
Hasta luego. Bueno, como siempre nos despedimos y agradeciéndoles a ustedes que están aquí en el canal y como siempre les agradecemos su tiempo y como siempre lo mencionamos también, larga vida para la lucha libre mexicana. Can you say that in Spanish? Larga vida.
Larga vida.
Larga
Larga
vida
vida
para
para
la lucha libre
la lucha libre
mexicana.
mexicana.
Eso.